Good afternoon, everyone. Giving honor to God and praises for me being here today. Thank you, Sheila, for having me in that introduction. Y'all hear a lot of echoing here. So there are so many misconceptions and lack of understanding around life insurance. The way we look at life insurance, even creating and leaving generational wealth. So we're going to do some dissecting here today to see why we look at life insurance the way we do. And why is our perception so tainted? Now I always start with a few questions. When you purchase a new car, what must you have before you drive off the lot?
Insurance.
When you purchase a new beautiful home, what must you have before you move in?
Insurance.
When you purchase new appliances, phone, electronics, they ask you if you want insurance, right?
Right.
So why, when it comes to our precious lives and our family's legacy, we're stagnant and hesitant to obtain life insurance to make sure that our family is financially stable when we pass away? We can't go to the funeral home to pay for a funeral and say, here, funeral director, here are the 50 pair of Jordans that he got in his closet, her designer shoes and purses. It's not worth it, and that's not leaving wealth or a legacy, right?
Right.
So can you walk with me for a moment so we can bridge the gap? So let me tell you, you are your family's MVP. Their most valuable asset is you. The ones who are always making everything happen for your family, not your home, not your car, not all these material things we can't take with us anyway, right? It is you, because you earn the income to support your family. It's up to you to change the trajectory of your family's life and build generational wealth and break generational curses. So take a deep breath for me. Inhale, exhale. Now raise your right arm for me. Raise your right arm and make a muscle. We're going to name that muscle Des. Now raise your left arm and make a muscle. We're going to call him Troy. Now put both hands together, because it's going to take a lot of strength and courage to destroy generational curses and cycles and bridge the gap in your family. Now turn to someone and say, I'll destroy generational curses and bridge the gap in my family. Say it like you mean it now. All right. So we're a culture that's reactive and not proactive. We live for today, but fail to plan for our family's legacy. We playing with our family's financial security. We'll wait until the unimaginable happens and then react. And sometimes it's too late then. Instead of properly planning ahead and being proactive, setting things in place for our family. I have insurance on my job. Yes, that's great. But some jobs you have to be on duty to get a payout, right? And then what happens when you change careers or leave that job or when you retire? Your insurance isn't portable. You can't take it with you wherever you go. So bridge the gap and get a standalone policy. And my favorite, I'm too young for life insurance. Wait a minute. But the older men and women, they say I don't need it right now, or can't even afford it because they didn't plan properly or just didn't have the knowledge to plan ahead of time. So it can be affordable for them. So bridge the gap. We're at all the concerts and shows, have all the designers, but we refuse or can't keep life insurance in place for our family security. Now, I often share this story. When I was a little girl, I remember an older white man used to come to our grandmother's house and pick up money from her every month. And until I was curious enough to ask, who is that man and why is he coming to get your money? And she told me it was burial insurance, is how she referred to it then. And he came for years and years, only to find out when she passed away, it was barely enough money to bury her with. And it did not leave wealth for the family. And when I share that, I find that my family is not the only one that happened to, right? So per the usual, the playing field just wasn't level for our families back then. We didn't have the same luxuries to get policies that would allow us to leave generational wealth. And they didn't provide our black communities with the same policies they had for their families. Their loved ones was basically set for life. But now we know how to bridge the gap and leave generational wealth for our family. So that's why this fire and passion is in me when it comes to insurance and generational wealth for us. This is more than just a job or just insurance. It's a ministry and a calling to take care of us. So when we're out, we take care of everyone just like they're our family, especially our seniors. Another misconception, do the life insurance companies really pay out? I mean, we put our trust in everything else, but when it comes to legitimate life insurance, they've been paying out for centuries. And in 2020, they paid more than $90 billion. So let that sink in, $90 billion. So it's the people who's proactively planning whose families are getting paid. Will that be you? Bridge the gap and know the difference between a term policy that expires and don't last for your entire life while a whole life does. So if you have a term policy, make sure you know when it will expire. And if your policy is from a TV commercial, a mail or post, make sure it's not accidental only. That would only pay out when you die from an accident. So make sure that you know that you have what you're paying for. And we have to get away from saying our child is too young to get life insurance. In fact, that's the best time to get insurance while they're young and have a clean bill of health and when it's inexpensive. And nowadays, we know so many of our babies are getting out of here more than our elders, right? And then, so get life insurance on your children and grandchildren too. And we know St. Jude is expanding, right? They're already planning ahead. And they say you don't have a bill when your child is there, but the bills at home don't stop rolling in, do they? So get your children in a life insurance policy with living benefits to have to use when their time comes. And they're already planning. So why won't you? Crowdfunding and GoFundMe, I'm sorry, is not life insurance. But as long replace the chicken and fish plate sales standing on the corner with a bucket asking for money to bury little Ray Ray, right? But children have expensive cell phones, shoes, clothes, games. So bridge the gap. We have so many luxuries and don't take care of the business right in front of us. Parents, we have children we're leaving behind. Think about it. Who's going to take care of your precious gifts? Who? You hear parents all the time say, I make this happen for my kids. So when you're gone, who's going to do that? Do you have that designated village of people in place to take care of your children when you're gone? And honestly, it's been times where both parents and spouses passed away together. So your loved ones may not be able to afford those $200 pair of Jordans or $300 pair of jeans, or lavish birthday parties and prom send-offs with the luxury car and these nice luxury vacations, right? So let's be real and think about this. So it's very important to plan for their future and leave money for them when you're no longer here. And the government is only giving about $200 to pay for a funeral. So let's get out of that poverty mindset and start thinking wealth and set our families up financially and bridge the gap. Set up trust and wills so if that time comes when you get sick and have to get assistance from the government for medical insurance, they won't come in and take everything you worked so hard for. So bridge the gap and set up short and long-term care plans. Set up medical directives for someone to make health decisions for you when you can't. Create your care team and primary caregiver who will actually, again, take care of you when you can't. Bridge the gap and teach our children and grandchildren work ethic, integrity, morals, values about financial literacy, saving money, the value of money, about credit, what a mortgage statement looks like, and a utility bill. What about buying a home? And that's the first step to building generational wealth. Because if you can't pay that loan or if you pass away, it goes right back to the bank or the lender. So have mortgage protection in place because you know what? The banks have insurance on your loan in case you forfeit it. So why won't you? Bridge the gap. Teach them about saving for retirement and having life insurance at a young age and how to make it work for their own personal bank. Show them what a life insurance policy looks like, what it means and how to leverage it, how to handle business at a funeral home. And if you know they may not be able to or may not be strong to, bridge the gap and go plan it for them. And if you don't know how, bridge the gap again and find someone who does. And if you hadn't taught them about saving money and then leave them a lump sum of money, then we see little Ray Ray or little Shay Shay spend it all in a month. But you lay a plan for them to have it for 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years, right? But they spend it all in their grievance process. Bridge the gap and set up grievance process for your children and grandchildren. Even us as adults who have a hard time coping with the loss of a loved one, it can be hard to move on. You hear so many say, my mother or father taught me everything but how to live without them. So why? Why are we teaching our children that we'll leave this place someday? And bridge the gap. So who better to sit down with and have the conversation with your children than you? Teach them what to do, how to carry on, how to lean and depend on God for strength, not drugs and alcohol, right? And mental health is real, y'all, especially in our culture, right? And how many days do the employers give you for grievance days? About 3, right? So do y'all really think that's enough? That doesn't even scratch the surface. But the fact of the matter is, some people just can't afford not to go back to work, right? They have to rush back to work after a loved one passes away. And we can't properly grieve after losing a parent, a child, a spouse. So bridge the gap and get enough life insurance in place to take that proper leave of absence. It's holiday season, right? Or any time when we have a barbecue or family gatherings, we laugh, we joke, we play around, but we forget about the most important factors in front of us. That someone at that family gathering doesn't have life insurance. And you know who they're going to look at to pay for the funeral? You. And we all have that one family member that say, I can't spend the money when I'm dead, so just put me in a box, right? But you know what? That box ain't free either, is it? So plan out how you want things. Have the conversations when you're gathered together. We hear all the time, I don't want to talk about dying. Why not? We're all going to one day anyway, right? So, but what happens is we take the beauty out of God's plan and we forget about this place is only temporary. So have those conversations that this amount is for the funeral. This is a color I want my family to wear. And this is who I want to speak. Because we all know we got somebody to get up there and bring it up the past, ruin our reputation. Oh, I knew him and her before we got saved. Before she got saved, right? Won't they do that? So bridge the gap. Do you know how many families fall out and quit talking for years, falling out over money and material things? When Big Papa, the wife or husband passes away, our patriarchs and matriarchs work so hard to pay out their homes. They pass away, leave the home to little Junior, then only to have little Junior lose the home to taxes, not paying it because all he knows is what? They left me the house and he think it's free to stay here. And here come MLGW, lights going off all over the place.
Did they really?
What? Huh? Because why? We're not having a conversation to let them know that they got to keep paying bills while they're there, right? So wait, we have some cases where people think since the wife or the husband is gone, what they worked so hard for, they think it belongs to them after they're gone. They literally want to come in and take everything, and I've seen it happen. So they feel entitled because that's my brother. That's my sister, and want to come and take everything. So bridge the gap. And they didn't even pay a dime for the funeral, but want to come in and take everything, right? So sit down with your loved ones and let everyone know who gets what when you leave. And I'm talking about both sides. The in-laws, your siblings, because what ends up happening is they'll hate the wife or the husband and siblings fighting because you left them everything. So talk about who gets the house, the car, and the money, and why. Because sometimes the baby or the oldest of the family may not be able to keep a big mama family house, right? So bridge that gap. Go put that trustworthy spouse or child on the bank account as joint owner, not only as the beneficiary, in case you have to access the money to take care of arrangements when you pass away while they're waiting on the life insurance to pay out. And notice I said trustworthy, right? Not someone who will go spend all the money on vacations and nonsense, and when it's time for you to use the money all gone. Your health is your wealth. Insurance company look at how well you take care of yourself. So bridge the gap and make sure you know what the doctors are prescribing and putting in your medical records, right? Bridge the gap. Our single parents and married couples, when you buy a home on a two-person income, one spouse may pass away. How you gonna stay there? Gotta work 5 jobs just to keep up with the bills. You're away from the kids. Kids have to stay with the family abusers or molesters. Come on, y'all, let's be real now, because this has long been an issue in our community. So, and do you know the number one reason for home foreclosures? It's after a breadwinner passes away, or when they get a medical diagnosis and have medical expenses. You're that stay-at-home mom or dad, and yes, they count too. There are so many misconceptions around that. You need to have life insurance in place for them. And where my Proverbs 31 women at? We won't leave out our 1 Timothy men that says a man is responsible for providing for his family. So let's talk about it, right? They have to cook, they have to clean, take care of the kids, all these things. That's hard work and that cost, right? To keep up a home. And what my dear say? She got that calculator out, right? And say, how much did she say Charles owed Helen for doing all that? Y'all remember? How much did she say? So make sure you get life insurance on them too. How much did she say, y'all? I'm still waiting on an answer. So we educate on how to leverage life insurance to work in your family's favor. How many of you have heard about, just making an echo here, heard about life insurance with living benefits? When you can actually use life insurance while you're still living to pay some things off or take that last family vacation. Now, how many of you know someone, or it may have been you, that's been diagnosed with cancer, heart attack, stroke, infertility issues, been in a coma, had an organ transplant, and my grandmother passed away for Alzheimer's. Those are chronic, critical, and terminal illness. Now, next question. If you knew someone, or that was you, after that diagnosis, who received a payout from the insurance and got a check for $10,000, $20,000, $50,000? Aflac, yes, but your life insurance can do that too. So if any of these things happen while you're living, you can get money from your life insurance policy without depleting your emergency or savings fund, right? Having to go get a loan and get in more debt, even starting a GoFundMe account to pay for medical bills. So bridge the gap and make sure you have the right policy in place. Now, how many of you have walked into Walmart or Kroger and seen that old door greeter at the door, right? Yep. Now, do y'all really think they want to be there? No. Come on now. Get to talking about, I've worked 30, 40 years, only to have me say in my mind, what you doing up in here? Right. Why aren't you actually enjoying your retirement? And it's sad that we have so many that literally been working all their lives and never really get to retire. And that's not God's design for us. He said, enjoy the fruit of your labor, right? Yep. And growing up, I used to hear all the time older people say, when I retire, I'm going to get this big Social Security check. Then years later, after we added the retirement to our portfolio, I was shocked and blown away, and I learned why. That's why they're there. They can't afford not to work. Why? Because the government never intended that Social Security be your only source of income during your retirement. In fact, they're actually analyzing if this is even going to be enough in years to come to pay out, right? And so, because the money is running out and not as many are working anymore. So bridge the gap and start saving now. So if you had a 401k plan with an old employee and you left that job, don't just get all the money and spend it. We teach our clients how to bridge the gap, roll it over into your own IRA or individual retirement account to have income for as long as you live and not run out of money and be forced to go back to work. So we're here right in the forefront of our community for almost 15 years, bridging the gap one family at a time, providing education, giving quotes, completing application, only to have a few call back to withdraw the application. Phone rings. Hey, my sister that lives out of town says, I don't need insurance right now. It wasn't even a whole year that passed. That same sister called and said, hey, my sister passed away. And I found your card when we were going through her things. And I wanted to know if she had a life insurance policy with you. Check my files. I'm so sorry for your loss. You have my deepest condolences. But no, ma'am, she did not. Another caller, daughter who lived out of town, said her father passed away unexpectedly. Same thing. I found your card in his wallet and wanted to see if he had life insurance policy with you. Check my files. I'm so sorry for your loss. You have my deepest condolences. But no, ma'am, he did not. Young or old, the fact of the matter is we are people who think we have time when we're already on borrowed time and don't even know when our time is, right? We know this and we still won't plan and get life insurance. So don't put off another day of planning for your family. Make up in your mind and start today. All life insurance is making a conscious decision for your family's financial security. In essence, life insurance isn't just for you, right? It's for those loved ones who have to live without you when you're gone. So when the unexpected happens for your family, please make sure you bridge the gap and prepare them for everything. And in closing, now each of you have a My Legacy sheet on the table. So think about if you lost a loved one or been a primary caregiver. And I was blessed enough to be a primary caregiver for my father until he transitioned. And that's hard work. So be sure that you choose your caregivers wisely. Now I want you to pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Now close your eyes. Think about your closest loved ones, your spouse, your children. And if you're the breadwinner and your family depends on your income, even if your parents are still here, I want you to write their name under My Legacy. Write the names of them. Now think about, can they really handle and afford to carry out the ins and outs of the whole funeral planning process? Have you prepared them? And after that, can they make it without you financially with the loss of your income? So bridge the gap. In Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So write the names of everyone. Write down your caregiver and your care team. And on the back, how do you envision your retirement? I'm your Peace of Mind agent, Daphne Kelly. And this Christmas, in the season of giving, allow us to give you the gift of peace of mind. Now I charge each of you to start destroying generational cycles and curses and bridge the gap now to protect your legacy. And we protect ages 0 to 90 and help disabled and seniors 65 and the veterans. So be sure to bring your legacy to our table there and schedule your complimentary consultation. Sheila, thank you for having me and bridging the gap here. Thank you for bridging the gap here today. And to my amazing support system, my husband, daughter, aunt, family, church family, I appreciate your support. Happy holidays and have a blessed day.